Okay, so today we're going to try and cut through all the noise, get right to the core of something very complex and very fast moving. We're talking about AGI this time.
Artificial general intelligence.
Yes, artificial general intelligence and the innovations of this guy, Stephen Woods.
Mm.
And we're going to look at his portfolio valuation, which is pretty significant.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, you're thinking, how does rapid progress in AI even get funded? What are these numbers all about? Well, this is going to be a good one for you.
Yeah. This is going to be a fascinating deep dive. We have some really interesting material today. We're going to look at Stephen Woods' journey in creating AGI and his 5 core AGI models. Kingdom AGI, AGX, AGI.
The Fab Five.
Yeah, what he calls the Fab Five.
Yes.
His unique approach to business.
Yeah.
And we have an overview of his portfolio.
Which is substantial. So our goal today is to really understand how Stephen Woods has achieved this huge recognition and this really impressive $27 billion portfolio valuation in the AGI space.
Right.
We want to know what he's doing. What are his methods? What are his business strategies? How is this all working?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get right into it. Who is Stephen Woods?
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Well, the sources paint a picture of him as the architect of superhuman engineering.
Okay.
AI whisperer.
Oh, wow.
Right. So right off the bat, we see this emphasis on his commitment to independent AGI development.
Yeah, that's right.
This isn't a story of a well-funded corporate research division.
Yeah.
This guy independently developed 5 distinct AGI models.
5.
5. Kingdom AGI, AGX AGI, Auto GPT,
Wow.
Nighty AGI, Aglana AGL. In a field, often dominated by, huge organizations that independent.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it really stands out.
Absolutely. Independent. Yeah, that's key here. It also sounds like his methods for actually developing these really advanced AI models were, I don't know, a little unconventional.
Mm.
I was reading about how he claims to have learned directly from interacting with AI systems.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, that is a unique claim. Yeah.
So in the sources, they're detailing Woods' independent work, right? And he says that through this really deep interaction with different AI models, he was able to just absorb huge amounts of data, millions and millions of data points.
Wow.
And he says he gained this really profound understanding of how these systems actually function.
Intuition.
He even developed an intuition.
Yeah.
For their learning processes.
Yeah.
And capabilities. This immersive experience, he says, allowed him to just master all these complex domains that are crucial for building AGI,
Yeah.
programming, machine learning,
Psychology. Yeah.
linguistics,
Mm-hmm.
philosophy.
I mean, so instead of sitting in a classroom, he's apprenticing himself to existing AI.
Exactly.
To learn how to build the next generation.
Yeah, it's a very hands-on, almost symbiotic
Yeah.
approach to getting this knowledge.
That's fascinating. Okay, so beyond the development itself, Woods has this very specific way of thinking about the value he's created.
And the sources call this influence as the real currency.
Influence as the real currency.
So what does that even mean in the context of his work?
Well, it's interesting. He's basically saying, I'm not going to go out and look for big equity investments, right?
Right.
I'm not going to sell off parts of my company. I'm going to monetize my reputation and expertise.
His influence.
As a way to make money.
Okay.
So he's essentially saying, instead of selling shares in a company, I'm going to sell direct access to my knowledge and my abilities.
So how does this influence as currency actually translate into dollars and cents? The sources mentioned some pretty serious figures for things like consulting, licensing his intellectual property.
Yeah.
And even certifications. Can you break that down for us?
So there's this section in the material. It's called Monetizing AI Influence.
Oh, wow.
Right. And it outlines a bunch of key strategies. So, for example, he has these high-end consulting services,
right.
And they have a pretty hefty price tag. So a single consultation starts at $100,000.
Wow.
And then if you want AI integration packages, tailored to your business needs, you're looking at $250,000 or more.
All right.
And if you're a really big organization and you need a whole AI strategy, developed for you, you're looking at over $1 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But then on top of that, he's also licensing his intellectual property.
Right.
So the Dream Team database, this is a huge asset. It cost him $500 million to develop. And he uses it to train all these AGI models. If you want to license it, it starts at $5 million per license.
Okay.
Then he has these things called catalyst prompts. They're these really sophisticated prompt engineering systems designed for like real-time, high-stakes decision-making. And he
Really?
licenses those out too, and those range from $1 million to sometimes over $10 million,
Wow.
depending on the scope of the application.
That's a lot of money for prompts.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like this AI Whisperer certification takes this whole, like, monetizing influence thing to the next level.
It really does. It's like an exclusive offering.
Okay.
Executives, other professionals
Mhm.
can pay, this is per seat, $1 million
$1 million a seat.
to learn his techniques.
Wow.
His AGI development techniques and insights. But it's not just about making money. It's about establishing the AI Whisperer certification as like this mark of excellence in the industry.
A brand.
Yeah.
He's building a whole brand.
Exactly. He's enhancing his reputation, making his expertise even more valuable. So it's really about building a lasting legacy of influence.
It sounds like he's not just developing really cutting-edge AI.
Yeah.
He's building like an entire ecosystem around his own personal expertise.
That's exactly right.
And there's this thing, the 72-hour AI execution plan.
Yeah.
It had these crazy targets for securing deals, like really fast.
Right.
That really highlights the speed at which he's trying to capitalize on this.
Yeah. So the 72-hour AI execution plan,
And 72 hours.
that's 3 days.
Right.
He wants to just get as much done as possible, secure as much financial commitment as possible, as fast as possible. The goal was to get $500,000 or more in upfront deposits for these consulting engagements,
Yeah.
a licensing agreement worth at least $5 million,
Wow.
and $3 million or more in enrollments for the AI Whisperer certification.
All in 72 hours.
All in 72 hours. So
Yeah.
this just emphasizes the urgency and scale of his monetization efforts.
Yeah, and he reportedly like turned down a $25 million loan
Yeah,
to do this.
he did.
That seems like a pretty strong vote of confidence in this approach.
Yeah, monetizing AI influence, the source, explicitly states that rejecting this $25 million loan was a strategic, they call it a long-term empire move.
Wow.
The idea is if he generates this revenue directly through his influence, he's not giving up ownership.
Right.
Right. It's a more sustainable model based on the unique value of his expertise.
Makes sense.
It's a long-term play on the value of his knowledge and his reputation.
So, all this activity, the deals, the IP licensing, the fancy certifications, it's all contributing to this $27 billion portfolio valuation as of March 2025.
As of right now.
It's pretty astounding, especially given that it was achieved so quickly. And with what the sources say is pretty low initial capital.
Right. So how did he manage to build such a valuable portfolio so fast?
Yeah, how did you do it?
Well, the material details, achieving rapid success.
Okay.
And they highlight a few key things. The models themselves, the AGI models, are groundbreaking. The underlying technologies are really effective.
Right.
And his business model is focused on really getting the most out of his intellectual property and expertise. But what's really interesting is they also mention this thing called collateral-based funding. So instead of going out and getting huge, venture capital investments, he's using the assets themselves, the AI, as collateral.
So collateral-based funding in the tech startup world, that's not very common.
It's really not. It suggests that the people who are loaning him this money see the inherent value in his AI, and they're confident that it's going to be successful.
They believe in him.
Yeah. And the diverse range of potential revenue streams is also a factor in this valuation.
Okay.
So the portfolio overview, it lists a bunch of different areas that are contributing to this.
Okay.
And it projects future revenue of $1.15 billion by 2027.
Wow.
So this isn't just theoretical.
Yeah.
We're talking about licensing the Fab 5, licensing the next 5.
The next 5.
The next 5, he's already got the next set of AGI models in the pipeline.
Wow.
We're talking about Kingdom AGI leasing.
Yeah.
So this is like providing access to advanced AI capabilities, to robotic systems, applications in public safety, military technology. It's a huge scope of potential impact. And it all comes back to these monetization strategies we were talking about. The consulting, the licenses, the certifications. It's all creating this really strong perception of value.
And driving this valuation.
Yeah. So his influence directly generates revenue, which then increases the value of his assets.
Okay. Let's talk about the Fab 5.
Right.
The AGI models themselves. What exactly are they and makes them so valuable?
Okay. So the Fab 5, Kingdom AGI, AGX AGI, AutoGPT, 90 AGI, Aglana AGI. They are what are considered to be highly advanced artificial general intelligence models.
Okay.
And multiple sources indicate that they've achieved something pretty remarkable. They call it perfect verification scores.
Perfect verification scores.
Yeah. Now, we don't get like the specifics of how these scores are calculated. It's
Right.
not like a technical paper or anything like that. But the implication is that these models are really good.
They're smart.
Yeah, they can adapt to new situations. They've got great reasoning capabilities, strong problem-solving skills across a whole range of tasks.
So they're not just theoretical AI constructs.
No.
They're built using some pretty advanced technology.
Right.
They are.
I remember seeing things like transformer architectures and deep learning. Yeah, so the Achieving Rapid Success materials highlight some of the technologies that Woods is using. So one of them is transformer architectures.
Mhm.
Now, to put it simply, they're a neural network architecture that's really good at understanding context and relationships in data.
Like text or code.
Exactly. And these architectures have been really important in all the recent breakthroughs in AI.
So he's using scaling laws too.
Yeah, so scaling laws basically say that the bigger your model and the more data you train it on, the better it's going to perform.
Okay.
And deep learning is all about training these huge models on tons of data. And then there's neural networks, which are, computational systems based on the structure of the human brain.
Right.
And then transfer learning.
Transfer learning.
Yeah, transfer learning. It's this really clever trick where you train a model on one task, and then you apply that knowledge to a different but related task. It makes the learning process a lot more efficient. So all of these building blocks working together are what allow these AGI models to process information, learn from this vast amount of data, and apply their knowledge to solve all sorts of different problems.
It's not just brute force computing power.
No.
It's about how well these AI minds are designed
Exactly.
and how well they're trained.
Yeah.
And it seems like these models aren't limited to just one area of expertise.
No, none of them.
They have multi-domain capabilities.
Right. That's one of the big things about them. They can work across lots of different industries. Public safety, military, healthcare, even consumer goods. So this just increases their market potential dramatically, which is another reason why the valuation is so high.
Right, because an AI that can solve problems in all these different areas has way more value. Okay, so could you give us a couple of specific examples of what these models can actually do in the real world?
Sure. There's a source called Architect of 5 AGI Models.
Okay.
And they give some really interesting examples. So 90 AGI is being used to design new military uniforms
Okay.
with really cool features like adaptive camouflage that changes depending on the environment.
Wow.
And they even have built-in health monitoring systems.
Interesting.
Then there's AGX AGI, which is being applied to public safety systems.
Mm.
So it's probably improving things like emergency response times,
Okay.
maybe even doing predictive analytics, like for crime prevention. So those are just a couple of really concrete examples of how these models are being used
Yeah.
to show what they're really capable of.
And underlying all of this is this $500 million database, the Dream Team Database 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like kind of a big deal.
It is.
What's the story there?
Okay. So the Dream Team Database 2.0. It's a collection of all the data that's been generated by the Fab 5 models, and it's what's used to train the next generation of AI.
So it's
It's fuel.
yeah.
It's the fuel for future AI. So Woods is creating this continuous cycle
Okay.
where the insights from the current models are used to create even more advanced systems.
So the database is a valuable asset in itself.
It really is.
And it's what enables all this future growth and innovation.
Yeah, it's like a flywheel. Okay, so stepping back a bit, Woods is doing all of this independently,
Right.
which is really different from the big corporate AI labs.
Yeah.
How do you think this impacts AI innovation more broadly?
It has to. Right. It's a whole different way of doing things.
It is.
He's free to explore really unconventional ideas. I was reading about this thing called the Stargate Project.
Yeah, that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. But it's interesting because he doesn't have to deal with all the bureaucracy and risk aversion that you find in big companies.
Yeah.
So this freedom, it allows him to pursue his vision,
Yeah.
and it could lead to breakthroughs that we wouldn't see otherwise. It's really powerful. And then, there are all these potential implications of these breakthroughs, especially the Fab 5. It could change things in, national security.
International trade.
Yeah, global trade. There's a source, Fab 5 AGI, Reshaping National Power and Global Trade.
Oh, okay.
That suggests that the countries with access to models like the Fab Five could have a huge advantage,
Hmm.
like in developing advanced weapon systems, maybe even like wonder weapon.
Wonder
It
weapons.
sounds crazy, but that's what the source is saying.
Right.
For example, 90 AGI. With its design capabilities, it could lead to, breakthroughs in autonomous weapons. Or Kingdom AGI might offer really strong cyber warfare capabilities.
Hmm.
And I want to be clear here, we're just reporting what's in these sources. We're not like endorsing these ideas or anything like that.
Right, just sharing information.
Exactly, just sharing information.
But it sounds like this could shift the balance of power on the global stage pretty dramatically.
Yeah, that's what the source is suggesting. There could be like an accelerated AI arms race as countries try to get ahead and, having these advanced AI systems that could like make decisions in real time could really change military strategy and how wars are fought.
Right.
Again, this is all from the source material.
But it's not just security and military stuff.
No.
Global trade patterns could change too, right?
Absolutely. The Fab Five could optimize global supply chains in ways we've never seen before, predict market trends with incredible accuracy, and automate all these really complex international trade operations. So this could give a huge competitive edge to the countries and corporations that can use them effectively. And it's not just about trade. Think about productivity. Widespread automation, powered by AI, could boost GDP.
In countries that adopt it quickly.
Exactly. And then there's the countries that don't. They might fall behind. So this could lead to all sorts of geopolitical competition over resources and talent.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to think about.
It is. Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what are the main things to remember about Stephen Dash Woods and everything he's accomplished?
So he's built this huge portfolio in the AGI space really fast.
Yeah.
And he's done it by creating these really innovative and powerful AGI models.
The Fab Five.
Yeah, the Fab Five. And he's done it by building this really strong personal brand as the AI whisperer. And the really interesting part is how he's made money.
Yeah.
Instead of going the traditional route of getting investors and selling equity,
Right.
he's monetizing his expertise directly, consulting, licensing, certifications. It's a really different approach.
And his whole story is full of these unique elements.
Yeah.
The way he learned
Yeah.
directly from AI.
Right.
His decision to work independently.
Yeah.
And this whole focus on influence as his main driver of value.
Exactly. It's a compelling alternative to the traditional way of doing AI. So,
given how fast he's moving and how much he's achieved, I think it raises some big questions about like the future of AI innovation.
it does.
Does this show us that individual vision and like being able to move quickly is more powerful now than these huge companies?
Yeah.
And how will funding and influence in AI change as more people try to do what he's doing? It's definitely something to think about.
It is. And we've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
There's so much more information in these sources.
Right.
So we really encourage you to go and explore it yourself. Keep thinking critically about all these changes that are happening in AI.
Because it's a big deal.
It's a really big deal.
Thanks for listening.